In this lab, we are trying to find the chemical formula of copper chloride hydrate. We want to find the mole ratio of the copper to the chloride to the hydrate, which are represented by the X, the Y, and the Z in this formula. In order to find the moles, we need to find the mass of each of the components. First, we heat off all the water and dehydrate the sample. We first heat the sample with the cover off of the crucible. Then we let it cool with the cover on the crucible so water cannot re-enter the sample. We can tell the sample is dehydrated by the brown color. The mass of the water will be the difference between the original hydrated sample and the dehydrated sample. Next, we'll rehydrate the sample so we can separate the copper from the chloride. We put the sample in a beaker and add water, being sure to get all of the sample into our beaker. You can see the color goes back to the blue-green when water is added again. We're going to remove the copper by doing a redox reaction with the more active metal, aluminum. Electrons transfer from the aluminum to the copper ion and form solid copper. The solution will become clear as aluminum ions are in solution instead of the copper ions. We then filter the solid copper through a Buchner funnel to collect it. We want to be sure we get the entire sample of copper. We then dry the copper by drawing air through it and then letting it sit on the lab bench. Finally, we find the mass of the copper. We can find the mass of the chlorine by subtracting the mass of the copper from the mass of the dehydrated sample. To find the mole ratios, we need to convert the mass of the water into moles, the mass of the copper into moles, and the mass of the chlorine into moles. Then find the mole ratios to solve for X, Y, and Z in our formula.